Becoming a doctor is a long and arduous journey, and it's important to take some time to reflect on whether it's the right path for you. It requires years of education, dedication, and significant investment of time and money. Simply put, it's not what it used to be. As usual, I'm going to try to tell you the fact of the matter and not swing you in any which way. So let's look at the facts. Tuition costs are ridiculously expensive, and they've gone up way past inflation, better than nearly any investment you could have made 30 years ago. The salary has not kept up with that rate of increase in the slightest, or with the cost of living. You're going to be in school, going further into debt, and missing out on opportunity cost of working during much of your 20s. Burnout, depression, and quitting medicine is at an all-time high. Administrative burden, litigation, and job dissatisfaction is at an all-time high as well. There's encroachment by people who are not doctors advertising themselves as doctors. In some cases, nurse practitioners and pharmacists are now able to independently do certain things that previously only a physician could do. The prestige, status, and fanciness is still there depending on who you ask, but not nearly at the level that it used to be. All that doesn't sound too great because it's not. I didn't know about any of that as a pre-med, and I just put the blinders on. I became exposed to this stuff either directly or hearing about it through others as I continued through medical school and residency. I really wish that someone sat me down as a pre-med and told it to me like it is. I don't think it would have changed my mind completely, but it definitely would have tempered expectations and painted a more realistic picture than the smiles and coffee cups with the perfect set of scrubs on Instagram. In the midst of all those downsides, a few things have remained the same about becoming a doctor. You still get to help people, you get to help them at their most vulnerable, and many of them are truly thankful for your efforts, and this can certainly be fulfilling. The job security, despite mid-level enroachment, is still second to none when compared to other industries, at least in certain specialties. The salary, even though it hasn't kept up with inflation, is still one of the best around when compared to other fields. You have to be careful with this though. You can't just compare the numbers. You have to take into account the stress, the time commitment, the sacrifice made to get to a certain point, because all of those things factor in. Someone might have a higher salary number, but their life is controlled by the hospital. Similarly, in other fields, you might make a lot as a software engineer, but startup hours don't look pretty either. The MD degree is still very valuable, and it's seen as respected with a degree of authority, despite, again, non-doctors calling themselves doctors all over the place. And this can open the door for you for non-clinical opportunities, whether you want to work for someone else or start an entrepreneurial venture on your own. You still get to learn a lot of complex mechanisms and details about the human body, and how much of this actually interests you is obviously up to you. Depending on your level of interest, you might have opportunities to do research and come up with new treatments and devices as a physician as well. So as you can see, like any other field, there's plenty of pros and cons to becoming a physician. In the end, it comes down to being honest about why you're doing what you're doing and what your intentions truly are. Ask yourself why you want to become a doctor. Is it because you have a passion for helping others and making a positive impact in their lives? Is it because you're drawn to the intellectual challenge of medicine and you enjoy problem solving? Or is it because you think it's a prestigious career with a high earning potential? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that either. If you're motivated by a desire to help others, then becoming a physician might be for you. Doctors do have the opportunity to make significant difference in people's lives, whether it's by diagnosing and treating illnesses or even providing emotional support or just being there in their time of need. Or like I said, you might go the non-traditional route and start a medical business or come up with research and inventions. These are all ways to help people. If you're someone who enjoys the intellectual challenge, then becoming a doctor might also be a good fit as well. Medicine is constantly evolving, and doctors have to stay up to date on the latest research and the techniques in order to provide the best possible care. So if you enjoy learning and you're willing to put in the work to stay current, then again, you might find it rewarding. On the other hand, if your intentions are different, then you might find it exhausting to constantly be catching up on what the latest thing is. And if you're primarily motivated by the prestige and the earning potential associated with the career, then it might be worth taking a step back and reevaluating your goals. Like I said, there's nothing wrong for those things to play a factor in your decision, but if they're the primary thing, you might be in the wrong lane. It's a significant investment of time and money, and if you're not truly passionate about the field at all, you're going to find yourself burnt out and unhappy like many people do. It's stressful and it's difficult for people who love it the most. I can't imagine hating what I do and still having to do this because it's simply just too difficult. Another important thing to consider is your lifestyle. Becoming a doctor is incredibly demanding, whether it's mentally or physically, and you're going to work long hours and you're going to be on call frequently. and you're going to have to be able to handle high levels of stress and pressure, at least for the training portion of your career. As you become an attending, you're going to have more control over your time, but it's not like that responsibility goes away. So it's a different kind of stress at that point. If you're someone who wants a lot of downtime or you value balance above all, then you're going to have to consider certain specialties within medicine or other means of making money on the side so you don't have to work as much. And it's also worthwhile just considering the overall state of the medical field. Healthcare is constantly evolving and things are changing, and doctors have to adapt to those changes. Like I said earlier, doctors are increasingly burning out because of factors like administrative burden, high patient volumes, and just constant emphasis on efficiency rather than patient care. Like I said, I'm not trying to sway you any which way, but it's important to consider the facts and know what you're getting yourself into and understand for yourself why you're doing it. Ultimately, the decision of whether or not you should become a doctor is a personal one, but make sure you consider all the facts before you do it. Don't pretend that it's roses and sunshine and cute little scrubs on Instagram. And don't write it off as all negative either. See it for what it is and reflect on what you want from your life and whether or not this is a fit for you. Don't do it because everyone else in your class is aiming that way or your parents are forcing you to. There's better ways to make money, especially these days with social media. And there's more lifestyle-friendly paths, but there's only one way to become a physician. So make your choice, but make sure that it's your choice. That's pretty much it today, guys. Hopefully that was helpful. Make sure to check the description for our newsletter and our resources and our upcoming courses. They'll help you too.